Hey everybody, how's it going? We're back. It's Thursday. Hope everyone's enjoying your week so far. Hope it's been good. Not too hot or too humid. It's actually been quite mild this July here in LA County. I'm enjoying that part for sure. Absolutely. It's a little on the humid side for this climate, but for the last several years we've been getting a little more humidity than usual. Historically we've been pretty dry, but now we're into the anywhere from 30 to 50% humidity, which is, it's more for this climate. It's not common for Southern California to be that humid. I know a lot of you guys on the East Coast and the Midwest are just rolling your eyes and just like, oh my gosh, if you could only know. No, I know. I've had humidity. I've been to the East Coast. I lived in Canada for 2 years. I've been to Hawaii. This is why I stay here. I don't like humidity. I can't stand it.
And I can't stand them.
I don't. I'm sorry. Some people love it, but for me, it just takes my energy right out, and I'm worthless. It makes me almost act like a drunk person. I'm just like tired, But I like dry climate. It's my favorite, and also things don't rust. much less. But anyway, hope everyone had a wonderful 4th of July. Happy, safe, and exciting one. I hope you guys all had a great barbecue with friends and family, and maybe some pyrotechnics that were, under control and safe to enjoy. Yeah, I hope so. I had a great one myself. My lady came over and we made a nice breakfast and enjoyed a nice easy early afternoon at Rec Park over in Monrovia. A lot of history there. And then we went to the grocery store and got some supplies to take down to Eddie's barbecue at his family's house down in Duarte. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. It was really nice. We had wonderful food, all homemade. Just awesome, spectacular stuff. Hot links and barbecue beans and corn on the cob and potato salad and also homemade salsa ceviche and everything. It was just amazing. It was really tasty. And I'm really happy to be, invited every year. It's a great time. And since Duarte, technically doesn't allow fireworks, but people shoot them off anyways. That's right. So we had a lot of fireworks to see anyhow. So it was a pretty nice evening, and I know my lady enjoyed it a lot as well as I did, and it was a great time. Lots of memories made for sure. So what do we have? Well, we have burning right now, and a Norlay diamond made, offered through the Norvell Shapley hardware chain, or Shapley hardware chain through Missouri. In St. Louis, Missouri. Yeah, that's where they were based out of. They offered a lot of these beautiful jobber lanterns, also with copper founts. I have a copper fount one. And subscriber and friend Gary Cobb gifted me this. And I shared it not too long ago, but I thought, you know what? I think I want to have it burning. It's a nice piece. I was out here last night enjoying a very mild evening. And I thought I should just light that up. That's a nice piece, and it's beautiful. It makes such a nice, warm, soft light. And at some point in time this August, I hope to go camping. I know. I keep saying I'm going to go camping, and I haven't done it yet. But things keep coming up. Yes. So have to just make the plans and just do it. Crystal Lake is calling for sure, and yeah. It's just got to happen. And I have somebody that's bugging me to go camping, which is great. And but things keep coming up on both of our schedules, and so it's just tying down a date and sticking with it, I think, is really what has to happen. So yeah. Yeah. But it will happen. I will not let this year close out without going camping up at Crystal Lake. I will be damned if that happens. I want to go camping this year. I want to go camping last year. It didn't happen, but camping will happen this year. Yes, it has to. It must. So Find the dates that works, and then nail it down, and then pack up the car and leave early in the morning. Early, because it's going to be warm in the canyon. Driving up there, I don't want to deal with any heat. I want to have it nice and cool so there's no hiccups or overheating or anything. And set up early and spend the beautiful day up there, and then spend a night, and then early afternoon and pack up and leave. That sounds great. I would love to spend more than one night, but with the schedule and everything, I think one night is probably all that we can afford right now, time-wise. So yeah, but anyhow, it will happen, and when it does, I will probably try and make some content. But if I don't, oh well, you'll just know that I did it. I'll share some pictures. Anyway. Well, what are we sharing today, Rob? What do you have for us that you can excite us and teach us? Well, something I've had for a bit of time now. Where is it here? Neighbor's kids having fun in the sun. Well, this here is one I've shared, but it's been a minute, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it and share some things about it. And it's a special piece. It's the Buhl No.0. Yeah, Buhl No.0. That's right. And this one is what they call, or a lot of collectors have referred to as, a coffin corner. Why is that? Well, look at the corners. They're sectioned. They're sectioned, see? And they have they give kind of a coffin aesthetic. So if you look at old 19th century coffins, they have those corners, right? So that's why they call it coffin corner, because it just kind of looks that way, just gives that look. And for Halloween every year, I usually burn this one because it's known as a coffin corner by collectors. It's not a name that the company actually used. It's a collector nickname. But I'll put like a Kirkman, cobalt globe in there, and for whatever reason, those globes they're beautiful, they're nice, but the blue ones seem to give off a purple quality to them. So yeah, it's good for Halloween, I think. Anyway, this thing's a fun piece. I'll light it up, and we'll talk about it. Let's see here. Get that wick nice and high so we can light it. There, perfect. There it is. There it is, friends. The Buhl No.0 coffin corner tubular. Now it's interesting because this has a lot of aspects other lantern companies had as well. This is from about, it's just taking an educated guess, mid 1890s, maybe up to 1897 or 8, maybe around there. I'm not sure how long they used this style as side lift, with the little linkage and everything here. See that? Right here. Yeah, see that? It's kind of neat. It's different. But yeah, I would say that this would be mid-late 1890s, right around there. It's hard to say for sure. But there's something about this lantern that other lanterns share. Mainly, I'll show you. And you probably will recognize it if you've been paying attention at all. But look at this. Underwire. Just hold on a second. My focus square is not where it's supposed to be. Okay, so we got a wire that comes down and goes underneath the lip. Okay? And then there's a top wire that clips down on top. Okay? Does that look familiar to you guys? Does that ring a bell? Does it look, say, well, if you said CT Ham, you were correct. Very similar to CT Ham. In fact, it's the darn same thing, same design, same with the smoke deflector and the collar with the guide wire at the top. CT Ham did that, and I have an example somewhere. Don't I? I do. Oh, right there. Move it back there. Anyway, that makes it harder to share. But anyways, you've seen them. 1890s oval tube D-tube or D-tube, whatever. CT Ham hot blasts have a very similar design. Yeah, Ham did it. I think they actually created it, but Buhl copied it. And they also did the square air tubes. Now, why did they section the air tubes on the corners? I don't know. Different. Looks cool. Probably felt it was more rigid. That's right. They probably felt it offered more rigidity. And, well, heck, it just kind of looks neat. But I think at the same time, there was also a double purpose. Since they were constantly getting in trouble with Dietz for using square tubes, which was a Dietz patent, I think that they, they wanted to try and make them a little different, so they tried to avoid patent infringement so they would get Dietz off their case. But that didn't happen. Dietz still, went after him for using square tubes. But so many companies kind of did that. And Mayrose and Buhl did that. Now, CT Ham had kind of the same aesthetics, but they had the oval or D-tube lantern framework, the air tubes. So they were technically not the same, but they still kind of gave the same aesthetic. But yeah, the square tube, it was Dietz patent, and everybody wanted to use it because that was what was popular, and it was a great design. It was the 1890s, and there you go. But this is a very expensive lantern. Any Buhl tubular from the 1890s is becoming quite expensive. And any particular a variant of this frame will fetch pretty good money. Yeah. And I paid a fair price because I got this from Mark Stowers. And he was a generous guy. And he worked out a deal with me. So yeah. It's awesome. I love this lantern. It's going nowhere. It stays with me, and if it doesn't, it goes back to Mark. But he had a duplicate, and I loved the aesthetics of this one. It had that nice dark brown rust. It was a little more than this, so I did do a WD-40 scrub, and it came out just exactly how I wanted it to, and it's a beautiful piece. But, I mean, just look at this thing. It just has a really neat aesthetic. Just really cool look. Yeah, the globe I have in it actually came out of a Dietz Monarch that I got off at Etsy, and it was a first generation Dietz Monarch, and it had that number, that Buhl 0 tubular globe in it. I was like, well, I didn't have a Buhl lantern at the time, but I thought, well, I'll have the globe when I find the Buhl lantern, because the glass sometimes can be harder to find than the lantern. I had it, and then I think I found a Buhl Conquest from like the 20s. And I put that globe in it. It looked great. And then eventually, I sold it. Yep, I sold it, and because I got the match safe one. I got the match safe one, and I put that globe in the match safe one, and then I got this one, and swapped them out. And now I have a Buhl 275 square tube cold blast I shared not too long ago, and it's just awesome. It's just cool stuff. I love the early Buhl. The early Buhl stuff is really neat. I did have a beautiful 275 cold blast from the teens or 20s that was painted white, dirty lantern, really grimy, and it just had a cool aesthetic. You might remember that one. Cumberledge. Matt Cumberledge has it now, and he loves it, and he's leaving it exactly as he received it, and I'm glad of that because it has such a cool look to it. Maybe I'll try and buy it back from him at some point in time. Matt, if you're watching, don't worry, I'm not going to come after it anytime soon. But, if you so feel that maybe it's not your favorite anymore, then we'll work something out. But it comes back to me, okay? That's all there is to it. That's right. That's always a stipulation. When I sell a lantern, I say, you know what? If you get tired of it, it comes back to moi. That's right. If I can afford it. Anyways. Yeah, guys, this is a fun piece. This is a special lantern. What do they usually go for? Well, back in 2021, I want to say, the identical model of this. Same coffin corner, same lift, lever, same lantern, essentially. It was for sale out of somewhere near Phoenix, Arizona, and it went for $900. $900. It went for $900. So, is that what they're all worth? Are they all worth $900? No. No, not really. They're worth $25,000. I'm just kidding. $900 was pretty ambitious, very unusual price for even one of these. It was a bidding war, and that's where the hammer fell, was at $925 or something. It was a lot. It was a lot. Kind of shocked a lot of people, but $400, $500 is kind of the bench for one of these pieces. It's a lot of money. I know, it really is. But These are not common. There's not a lot of these. Not every collector can have one because there's not enough to go around. And a lot of people already have one in their collection, if not multiple. And there's a lot of variations. You had different lift designs. Buhl offered a lot of different variants of a particular frame, just as Dietz did, and CT Ham. They had tons, different lift mechanisms, no lift mechanisms. Some with the trap door, you stick the match in it to light it, and they had a variety to choose from. Different models that more or less did the same thing, allowed the same amount of light, but just different designs at different price points. Very subtle price differences, mind you. But in that era, a man would consider his money very sacred. So he wanted to make sure he was getting an economical choice and decision to make, but also something that did the job that he was wanting it to do. So if some people are like, well, I like this lift design opposed to that, and they had choices. The 1890s definitely were a smorgasbord of choices. There really was. You had lanterns that did the exact same job, light-wise, put out the same amount of light, but they all had different aspects, different variants, and different tricks. Like Dietz in the 1890s, you had the Victor, the side lift, the OK, the Star, the square lift, the number 0 reflector tubular, the number 13 dash. I mean, all the same lantern essentially, but they all had different purposes, different applications. So you had driving lanterns, and you had wagon lanterns, and you had general utility lanterns, and general purpose lanterns, and lanterns to light up your life in the 19th century. Yeah. But Dietz slowly did reduce the amount of models that they offered, because they're like, well, there's a lot of duplicates, there's a lot of repeats, so let's just kind of limit our catalog down a little bit more and focus on certain models that are really making the money, focus on the ones that are the number one sellers, and reduce making ones that don't sell as much because they're essentially the same lantern. Makes sense. The evolution of the tubular lantern, manufacturing and companies is very interesting. I always love learning stuff about that, but it makes sense. Why would you offer this whole catalog full of lanterns that all did essentially the same thing, and you reduce it down to the ones that sell the most or that sell the best? But Buhl definitely would get in trouble with Dietz because of the square tubes that they had a patent on. And, by the turn of the century, they were not using square tubes anymore. They went to a round tube, just like everybody else. And, we call it the Monarch frame, where it's two stamped, sides put together, crimped on the edges. And it was a lot easier to produce, a lot easier to make. And, Winfield, CT Ham, Paul's, Buhl, Embry, Berger, they all came out with a similar lantern frame that Dietz created with the Monarch. That's right. So a lot of collectors just call that era, the early 1900s to 1910s, the Monarch frame for hot blasts, because they all look essentially the same. But the Coffin corner, those are very fun. And they are out there. If you know where to look, and look often, you will probably find one. Now, Buhl came out of Detroit, Michigan, but they did ship everywhere. They were for sale in a lot of different hardware stores throughout the country. In fact, I recently saw somebody posted a catalog page from a Los Angeles-based hardware retailer that were offering the Buhl lanterns. And the page showed the 275 square tube, like the one I shared not too long ago. And that was really surprising to see those available in Los Angeles, California. But, yeah, it's cool stuff. But Buhl, this lantern, if you find one for under $100, grab it as fast as you can. Even if you find one for under $300, absolutely consider it. Buy it if you can. Because these things are only going up in value. They really are. They maintain their value and they increase in value. And, I'm not going to sell this thing. I love it. And if I do, it's going to go right back to Mr. Stowers. That's the agreement we had. Yeah, that's fair. I appreciate that. But anyways, it's a fun piece. I've taken this on vacation back in 22. Went to Grand Canyon, North Rim. went to Bryce Canyon and stuff. And I took it with me because I knew I was going to be able to enjoy nice, soft, warm light outside in the Southwest, you know? Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. I'm glad I took it. I'm glad I took it because it was very nice to sit outside and enjoy a pipe in the wilderness with a beautiful, rustic-looking tubular. That's right. And it has that look. It really has that kind of Old West type of look to it, doesn't it? Even though it's kind of on the tail end of the frontier. Well, it is the tail end of the frontier. It really is. The 1890s was really kind of when everything's winding down. But it still has a really cool, rugged look, and I loved it, and it was great. It's so funny to be at Bryce Canyon and see all the hoodoos and everything. Well, near Bryce Canyon is Thunder Mountain. Yeah, that's right. There is really a park called Thunder Mountain that Walt Disney was inspired by to create Big Thunder Mountain Ranch, or Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. You know, the ride, the attraction. Yeah. So you go there and you see all the hoodoos and the rock formations. It's very similar to, well, it was imitating Bryce Canyon and Thunder Mountain. So pretty cool stuff. But yeah, interesting, right? Yeah, indeed. So hope you guys enjoyed this share, this Buhl No.0. You know, I'll be sharing another more rare obscure lantern next week, and just to kind of give you guys a little bit more variety and help you guys, you know what to look for, and just take a mental picture and find some fun stuff. It is out there. Antique stores are, hit or miss. I know. I haven't really antiqued too much recently because, well, I got plenty of stuff. I don't need to go out and find more. But whatever the case is, you never know what you'll find. Either on Marketplace or an antique mall or a flea market, swap meet, whatever. But keep your eyes open for the good stuff and the fun stuff and the rare, unusual stuff. And you will be surprised. You will actually find something. All right, friends. Well, thanks again for tuning in once again. I do appreciate it, and I enjoy interacting with you guys in the comments. And, we're just going to keep on keeping on. And the future looks good for the channel. There's things coming up in the not too distant future. So keep tuning in, and I'll keep doing this stuff, and we'll just keep on having fun together. All right? Now go out there and find yourself a fun lantern to get burning, or enjoy it just as is if it's a turnkey, and enjoy the history. Fuel it up, have a beer, and sit out on your back porch or wherever you choose to in the evening and just look at that nice, simple flame and let your mind drift and think about the things that you appreciate and that you're grateful for in your life, for sure. Absolutely. All right, friends, that's enough out of me. So time for me to go. Take it easy, and we'll see you next week at the same time, same station. Bye-bye. Sit, boo-boo, sit. Good dog.